Yeah, the thing is like how did I came into the
Yeah,
Mahavidya uh, I mean Mahavidya sadhana or this particular tradition is it's basically my grandparents and grandparents are responsible for that. Why? Because if we look into Kerala, there is a particular, a separate sect which is called the Ganaka. So what they do is like they are a kind of traditional astrologers, like fortune tellers, and also the people those who works with the medicines and things like that. Basically Ayurveda and Sanskrit also. But the here what happens is that this particular sect is not very much kind of Brahminical thing. Like there is no. I mean, if we look into the India in a greater way, we could see there was untouchability is being practiced greatly in mostly
correct.
in Kerala. Like Swami Vivekananda was saying that the Kerala is something
Okay,
a sort of a house of mad peoples are like because
okay,
they are all very much into untouchability. So if we look into this particular tradition, like especially this particular sect is not been preaching the untouchability stuff, and rather than that, they were the people in India. I mean, in the South India. Uh, um, Teaching the Sanskrit to the lower caste people. I mean, the too much of lower
okay.
class, like educational people. They were teaching the educations and things like that. Whatever they were not able to understand related to the holy
Mhm.
text, so-called Vedas. These things they
Mm.
were teaching. So this
Okay,
was my sect basically. So
okay.
the when we look into this in my house, like my grandparents was having one temple basically which has been given to the Dakshina Kali. I mean,
Oh,
in
okay,
local language, it is been known as Vadakan Chova. I mean, in the Malayalam language, but it is basically the Dakshina Kali, which has been there. And if we look into my grandmother, like when I'm very young, people used to come to her, like for healing, and they used to get dreams in night and how
Mm-hmm.
to heal from that and things like that. So she gives a certain kind of mantras and
Mm.
certain ashes and things like that, and salt also. So with the usage of these peoples were used to get cured from this. When I was very young age, I looked into this with a greater curiosity. How does all these things are working? And when I grew
Mm.
up, like because I got a radical mind and mostly a logical mind, I started to
Mm.
think that whether this is because of mostly because mm, a kind of psychological treatment, maybe because
Mm.
people will feel psychologically uplifted over here and things like that when they come and contact with the kind of healers, and generally people will feel they a little bit uplifted, and they are feel a little bit better. I thought it might be a psychological adoption, like so when I
Mm.
started to study in this particular light, I
Mm.
started to study the books in the psychology, like Carl Jung, and there are a lot of
Mm.
Western people those who. If we look into the psychology, Eastern peoples were not generally not that much interested in the psychology, because
Mm.
the most of the things they are mostly interested into philosophy, like
Mm.
Advaita Vedanta and things like that.
Correct, correct.
So this is what the Eastern people were interested in. But when we want to study about the mind, we have to go to the West. Those are the people who mostly studied about the psychology and Carl Jung and stuff like that. When later part, I have realized the one sad truth that the mind is something which is not existing. So what?
Mm.
So then the healing is not actually psychological, because mind, they wrote an entire thing about the stuff which is actually really not existing. So there is something which is actually causing the mind to be manifested, because mind also the collection of the intellect which we get on the journey. So
Mm.
there is something which will actually cause the mind also to be manifest. So what
Mm.
was that? And I got interested into these studies. Then when I was going to schools and colleges, the studies got more intensified, and I studied Western esotericism. Like there is
Mm.
alchemist and people, like mostly, the book which is talking about the alchemist is Paulo Coelho's Alchemist. So we can get an overview of how the Western esotericism is been working.
Correct.
And so
Mm.
there people believe there is philosopher's stone. And even the latest podcast which you can go through my channel and find, like, we have
Okay.
discussed greatly about the beliefs, and I mean the conspiracies, believing in the Western people, basically, about the UFOs and the reptiles. And there is a space
Mm.
shifting reptiles and the shape shifting
Mm.
reptiles that could be from the another dimensions and things like that. These kind of sort of things, like, the
Mm.
reality, how does the reality looks like? And so
Mm.
I went to somewhere called Narayana Gurukula. Here I found somebody called Nadaraja Guru and his disciples. I mean, when I went to the Gurukula, Nataraja Guru was not there. He was already got samadhi, and his disciples was there, and some of his books where he tried to unite the wisdom of East with the West. And so he formed a concept called East West University of Brahma Vidya. Basically, what it does is, like, here his entire idea, whether he was able to find out some sort of relation between the East and West. So in that sort, like, I studied his teachings and his books, and I spoken to his disciples, those who were too close to him while he was alive. And he actually comes from a lineage called Narayana Guru. And this has been in Shivagiri. And these peoples went to Marpapa and for the inter-religious conference there. And I think Marpapa is going to come in next month to Kerala from the for whatever they have did based on that. And so after studying all these concepts, like, about the Nataraja Guru and things like that, I understood there is something called the samadhi is existing. Like there is the states of mind, like, Jagrat, Sopnam, Sushupti, and Samadhi. And there is a place where we can go and get Samadhi experience, which is beyond death, birth, and rebirth, which people's, I mean, the ancient books talks as, like, the scriptures talks as the state of nirvana. And on this light, I looked into the Vedic astrology and what does it means. Like, when I was very from very young age also, I have a ability to predict, basically, what is
Okay.
going to happen and how it's been happening. All these things is possible. How so
Mm.
most of my predictions comes true in later stage. And also there are a lot of incidences been happened in my journey of prediction, because when I was consulting two sisters, they were from the Poland, basically, and I was
Mm.
drawing the card for them. And
Mm.
they are twins, identical twins, basically. So the
Okay.
cards which are coming out identically similar, like, the things, the cards are coming for each person is very
Mm.
much similar. So these
It's
things,
great.
these are quite interesting stuffs which has been happened. Then I been to I was in a traveling like I went to Nepal where the White Tara Yogini White Tara she
Yeah.
was residing in one ashram. I went
Mm.
there and studied her philosophy, her experiences, and the interesting thing which has been happened when I was in the ashram, there was one of my friend. She is from Italy, and she took the
Mm.
picture of the yogini, and
Mm.
the in camera we can
Mm.
see that there is a subtle body behind her photo, like it's
Mm.
there is a kind of rays been
Aura.
aura. And
Huh.
she is also from she is from a scientific community, and she took
Okay.
this and she was showing me and what was the explanation, and we were scratched our head, we were not able to figure out why it has been
Right.
happened. uh,
Huh.
then after that I went to Rumtek Monastery, which is into Sikkim, and
Mm.
here I came across a lot of teachings in the Buddhism. Basically, this
Mm.
particular place where the Tibetan tantric things is been practiced, and there you can see the tara, green tara, red tara, white tara, this kind of
21 taras.
21 taras in the Buddhist concept. And there is a temple which has been dedicated to Bhairava, and the herbs also has been offered to Bhairava, like the alcohol is been offered to Bhairava. And
Okay.
I found out there is in the it's not just alcohol is been offering to Bhairava. There is also alterations is been happen that can induce the sort of immortality in human beings, like that is called
Wow.
soma, the drinks which has been
Yeah,
speaking
yeah, yeah. Right.
text a lot, like with the devas and things like that. So this was a quite interesting experience. I have spent almost 1 month in this particular monastery, and I had interviewed one monk and put that particular podcast in my YouTube channel.
Channel.
Where, yeah, there we are talking about the the tantric Buddhism, and the why the importance of the guru is very much important if we are walking in this particular path and things like that. Then after that, in the certain part of Orissa, there black magic is been practiced. Like it's also related to the tantric wisdom. Like there is a museum of black magic is been existing in a place called Mayong. So there we can see the lot of black magic stuffs, and now, what they say it's as a black magic, it's
Mm.
basically an occult which can actually transcend the reality which we are actually experiencing. It can induce the state of a radical change in the reality. I mean, we call it as Maya. So the Maya can be easily bendable, and it can be induce some sort of it can we can actually flex the reality. So there are some medicines
Okay.
and the mantras is been used, and the interesting thing
Okay.
is that all this is been associated with the Mahavidyas in one form or another form, whether it will be Tara or it will be Kali, it can be Shodasi, it can be
Dhamavati.
Chandrika, yeah. So the all these things, and when I went to the Kamakya temple, there we can see the 10 tantric goddesses temple. After all this I went to the Kamakya temple, so where I could actually relate all these stuffs, why it has been happening here. Like even
Mm.
there the interesting thing we can see is that the animals, that is, I mean,
Mm.
every day the animal sacrifice will happen in the Kamakya
Mm.
temple, in all the temple, all
Right.
the Mahavidya's temple.
Correct.
There is every day happens, the animals are not at all scared. It is like I am going to die first. I am going to die first, like that. They are in
My
the.
God.
So
So
this
they are very much eager to,
they're-
sacrifice their
them
lives. Is it
themselves,
something
like
like that?
yeah, they are
Oh
very
my
much
God.
eager to.
Why? I mean, how is that possible? Why do you think that is possible? I mean, is that it happens in
I
that way?
have
What is change in the psychology or something?
I feel like when you sacrifice yourself towards the gods, is like the thing what is happening here is like you will get direct connect to the Brahman or the absolute, like so the you will come out from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth and get united with the absolute. So the animals
They
is
feel it.
they feel it, like in that place they feel it, and they feel like giving sacrifice there, I feel.
Oh.
So
So
this might,
basically, they vie for that salvation thing, and is
yeah,
ultimately thing is as a moksha.
moksha.
So they also feel it internally.
They also
Okay.
feel it internally. That's why I feel like they are like to get sacrificed over there. So it's all comes into Mahavidya sadhana. So that is where I realized this has a particular effect on the subtle reality. I mean the here what we are
Mhm.
living, and it can also can give an effect on hereafter as well. Like you can
Okay.
get everything over here, and from hereafter also you can get everything. I mean, we really don't know what happens after the death. Like nobody came out
Mm.
from the death and told like this is how it's
Mm.
been. But
Correct. True.
yeah, some clue we can get. So
Yeah.
this is where I got into. This is my entire spiritual journey, which is about the Mahavidyas, where I come into Mahavidyas, and I studied the astrology. And the interesting fact is that the in
Mhm.
Kerala these peoples were practicing astrology maybe like thousands of years ago itself. Like if we study
Mhm.
this history, it has been practicing there from thousands of years, and it can be mostly should be from the the Tamilian history, because
Mhm.
the rishi which we can find in our other people's houses, like it's Karthik, the people's believe is the son of the Shiva and things like that. He is
The
actually
Murugan.
Murugan, yes, exactly.
Murugan.
Yeah,
Huh.
Karthik. He is basically a
Yeah.
rishi. He found the astrology, and he has a lot of knowledge about the I mean the transcendental
Aspects.
sciences basically. So this is all about my journey. Yes, yeah.